Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is our first day of blended instruction. Blended instruction means that each station has a rotation for a certain amount of time that you spend roughly 20 to 25 minutes in, depending on how we're doing as a group. Since this is a 90-minute block, we have 90 minutes. The idea is I shouldn't be giving you more than 10 to 15 minutes of whole group instruction. Then it's up to you to work with a partner to go through the steps that we're asking you to go through. What kinds of things are we asking you to do today? To look at the unit targets that we have posted on the updates for today. I want you to look at that first, okay? That way, before you ask me questions, hopefully you probably answer them on the instructions for today. Take a look at that first. The targets are listed on there. Today's October 1st.
Second.
Oh, sorry, second. I may have put the first on there. Did I put the first?
Yes.
Hopefully it says Monday the 1st of October then. Let's pretend it's October 1st. Who can see the targets on there right now?
Yeah, I can.
Great. Let's listen to Roberto. What are the targets for today?
Agreement and direction for my section.
What's that?
I mean this, like these targets.
Remember, we're on updates, so you look for the date and then the questions and the
Green
prompts.
station.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah. Again, we're answering the questions here.
What are tragic elements?
What are tragic elements? Okay. It also should, yeah. What about the very top target?
How does literature reveal us to ourselves?
Yep. And?
How can we
Revise.
It is for parallelism.
Okay. How many people, if I asked them what parallelism was, could show me an example in their writing?
So easy.
Anywhere. It could be in Hamlet, yes. It could be in your own writing. It could be in any piece of text. Okay? If you're not sure what it means, that's okay. It's one of those academic terms that we're going to talk about today that you have to know to be able to do to be successful at the end of this unit in your essay writing. Parallel writing is typically a repetition of structures, grammatical structures within sentences. If we think about the 6 traits of writing, where would parallelism fit most neatly into? So we're talking about word choice, ideas, fluency.
Take fluency.
Probably fluency, right? It tends to be a poetic form because it makes ideas memorable by repeating words or structures for emphasis, and we want to understand how to do that in your writing. Secondly, that target's designed to get you ready for the PSAT test, because what we're discovering on the PSAT practice questions, which one of your stations will look at today, there will be questions about style in writing concerning sentence fluency. So the first question you're going to look at in one of your groups today is how to revise a paragraph for accurate parallel structure. And you're going to see an example, and you have to identify from a multiple choice field the correct answer that fits the rest of the parallel structure within a paragraph. So that's why we're going to ask you to look at that. Secondly, today, when we're studying how does literature reveal us to ourselves, well, we have to think about the author's purpose, don't we? In Shakespeare's purpose, of course, like any author in a work of fiction, what do they do to reveal literature to ourselves? What do they use in terms of that academic vocabulary we use? What things do they use to express literature as revealing to ourselves? In other words, mimesis. Mimesis, for example, would be this: revealing, life imitating art, right? What are those things called? When we write a Peter paragraph, what's the T in Peter? Technique. So the question is, what techniques does Shakespeare use to reveal literature to ourselves? So one of the stations will be working on just their Peter paragraph today that will be part of the larger essay that they must write for their first rough draft. In the Peter paragraph group, you're given a student sample of a complete rough draft. I want you to identify the Peter paragraph. I want you to identify the technique that the student uses in answering the question, how does Shakespeare reveal literature to ourselves? What technique does Shakespeare use according to that student? What evidence does he use to support it? What are his conclusions about it? That is an analytical Peter paragraph, okay? So that's kind of a model for you to say, how do I use the evidence that I have so far, vis-a-vis Shakespeare's quotes, define a technique Shakespeare has to prove my point about how Shakespeare reveals, for example, the tragic elements of Hamlet, if I have Hamlet. That's going to be in one of the groups. The other group will simply be, again, going over the PEE paragraph structure, because how many PEE paragraphs will you have in your body paragraph for your final essay? 3. Okay, close. If you have one Peter paragraph, you have a total of 3 body paragraphs, you should have at least 2 point evidence explains. Where would the point evidence explains come in terms of your real life character or your Shakespeare character?
Say both.
Maybe both, yeah, because number one, you have to compare Shakespeare and your real life character, okay? So you're not necessarily talking about Shakespeare's techniques, but you're analyzing why they may share similar tragic elements. The Peter paragraph is designed to say, well, how does Shakespeare exploit that in technique? That's a Peter paragraph. The other PEE paragraph, you'll see the instructions will ask you to do what? Well, you have to give a background on your real life character. We want to know how they rose to fame and how they fell from grace, so to speak. Okay? That's in the 3 groups. Where can we identify the instruction for those 3 groups? Let's take a look up here again at upcoming. So here we have 3 stations. We have the yellow station, which is, yeah, thank you, Diego's group. We have the blue station, which Alicia and Hillary's group, and then we have the finally the green station. What are those groups? Let's just take a look quickly at the instructions. Which one is which? If you click on the yellow group, you will begin drafting your first PEE paragraph based upon your real life character. And you can focus up there if you want. Please see. This is for yellow. Please see Nicolo's example, rough draft. Which of his 2 body paragraphs are point evidence explained? What do the topic sentences refer to? One body paragraph should illustrate and explain your character's background. Come on in.
Did you want me to film?
Ooh, I would love if you can.
But I have to cover, is it the whole class?
No, it definitely doesn't have to be the whole class. No, it could be like what we did last time.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, just a few shots. What do the topic sentences refer to? One body paragraph should illustrate and explain your character's background, rise to fame, and ultimate downfall. That's your real life character. Remember, PEE is primarily for fiction or nonfiction. PEE is primarily for fiction or nonfiction.
Oh,
Nonfiction.
Nonfiction, because you're not analyzing author's technique. Yeah, good.
You're saying that.
Yeah, okay. What evidence can you draw from your Padlet to support that? Remember, this is all about using the evidence you've already compiled from your SpiderScribe or Padlet to put into this writing process. So remember, use the resources that you have already done. You've had 3 SpiderScribes that you did, where you did a mind map, organizing all of the quotes, making conclusions about the tragic flaws between your 3 characters, and then also using Quizlet vocabulary to define those tragic flaws. So you have to access your mind maps in SpiderScribe.
We only did 2.
Huh?
We only did 2.
No, we did 3.
Yeah, we did 3. What, 3?
B, what connectives, adverbs, and single word analysis will be used in the paragraph? Remember, you will need to access the point evidence explained rubric, which is attached below. See the checklist below. So there are 2 resources here you can draw from. 2 resources you draw from. The paragraph checklist, make sure you look at the different connectives that you will need. Connectives, remember, are transitions that tie in point evidence and explain. And the rough draft here by Nicolo is a complete example of where you should be by Wednesday. By Wednesday, this is where you should be. Not at the end of class, but by Wednesday. Okay? That's the yellow group. Blue station. I'll just have the blue station read this quickly. Diego, help us out, or Ivan, help us out at the blue station.
One of your three body paragraphs must include a period paragraph analyzing a technique used by Shakespeare to highlight, emphasize, symbolize your chosen character's tragic plot. Please carefully refer to both of the lists, literary techniques attached below when analyzing the technique in this paragraph. Please refer to the period paragraph checklist below to review the structure for your period paragraph analyzing a technique used by Shakespeare to highlight, emphasize, symbolize your chosen character's tragic plot.
Excellent. There's two resources for you. There's the Peter paragraph a checklist. Sorry, three resources. The Padlet rough draft from Marcelo. Literary elements for technique. These are all the possible elements that Shakespeare might have used to highlight, emphasize, illustrate, convey the larger point about the character, themes, or situations in Shakespeare. And secondly, you have this image here. This image is very important because it contains also some additional features. Things like the techniques of foreshadowing, tone, symbolism, FB, which isn't Facebook, flashbacks, dialogue, personification, imagery, theme. Those are your resources to use there. And finally, we have, did I skip green?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Green Goop, would you read this please?
You will open the link PSAT questions, click on the practice test, click on the writing and language practice, complete question 1. Answering the following questions after you complete number 1. Which types of sentence structures do you notice in paragraph 1? Notice. Okay. Simple, compound, complex. Please take the quiz on parallel structure below. Next, please open the link parallelism in writing sentences with examples. Read rules number 1 and 2, and watch the 3-minute video, and then complete the practice and proofreading section.
Okay, so this is a little bit heavy on structure of the assignment. It requires technology, requires earbuds unless you don't have them, which you can listen to it aloud. Make sure that you go through the structure that I ask you to do. This is a mini tutorial, okay, talking about parallel structure, how you can use it in the PSAT exam, what PSAT questions will ask you. You're only answering one PSAT question, the very first one about parallel structure, and then you're looking at how to revise and edit parallel structure in your own writing once you've done the rough draft. So I want you to be able to understand and identify what parallel structure is, why we use it, how it is effective, and how we can revise for improving sentence fluency by utilizing parallel structure. Okay, that's it. The 3 groups now we will check in with. I will check in with pairs and individuals. I want to see how effectively you can use a partner to help you engage the process itself, to ask questions, to check in with each other, and to generally collaborate on what you're doing. Remember, we want people talking, speaking, and listening. If you need code switching, you need to talk in Espanol to get those ideas out, great. But I want you to see you go through these step by step, and I'll be checking with groups, okay? Thank you. Let's begin. We have about 25 minutes for each group. Thanks.